There we go. What's up, guys? Our friends in YouTube, we are back once again with another episode 70 of the Super Deformed Gamescast. As always,
can't make any funny jokes about that one.
Yeah, you really can't. Yeah, there's no, it's no 60. What sucks is that episode 69 ended so abruptly.
This is episode 69X1.
Episode 69. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
69-2.
69-2. Anyway, we are live. It's episode 70. How's everybody doing tonight? We got everybody here. Well, not everybody here. We actually do have a guest tonight. We got Sam from our sister podcast, Basement Radio Arcade. We are glad you're here, my friend.
Again, glad to be here. It's always a pleasure.
Talk about them video games. Video games are cool, right? Like I've heard they're all right. They're not bad.
They can be. Sometimes they can be very disappointing.
They really can. And we're going to talk.
There's a certain game we might have to talk about this week.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, we're gonna get to some disappointing video game talk because this is a disappointing podcast.
But it's also been let's not kid ourselves here. It's been an insane year for video games.
It has been an absolutely amazing year for video games.
Have you seen those Persona 5 reviews? Pretty high.
I'll tell you what. I'm picking up Persona 5. I'm digitally downloading it so I can have it at midnight, and I will be taking Tuesday off to play some of it. But I'm also taking Tuesday off to review Cosmic Star Heroine. We should be getting a review copy of that on Wednesday. I'm really looking forward to this, guys, because I got to play it finally at PAX, and just what an amazing fucking game. This is the Chrono Trigger game that I have been waiting for since fucking Chrono Trigger. It looks like
what Io Setsuna should have been.
It is exactly, but like it takes that gameplay. It amps it up to 11, and it's got that classic Chrono Trigger look. Like it just looks like Chrono Trigger.
I have a question.
Please.
Is it coming out on Switch? Because I need something to play on that.
So I want you to talk about the Switch 2 tonight, by the way, man, because I know you got yours. Zaboy Games is in active conversations with Nintendo to bring Cosmic Star Heroine to the Switch, and I think it's a match made in heaven. It's a perfect game for the Switch.
Well, Nintendo seems pretty good with that stuff. So if someone wants to bring something to it, I'm sure they'll find a way.
I think Jesse was what game we're talking about? Cosmic Star Heroine, Jesse. But yeah, so I'll be reviewing that, and we'll have our review out in time for the embargo, which is really cool. So that's good.
I just heard Jeff talking and assumed he was discussing how he
There
wasn't.
he is. I was wondering when you were going to pop in. Okay.
Fashionably late.
Exactly. Oh fuck.
I was talking about how you're later than a Sony exclusive, Matt.
What? I didn't hear what you said.
You missed it. The moment's gone, man.
No, come on. Something exclusive.
Completely ruined it.
Move on.
It's the podcast.
Move on. No, dude, man, we ain't got
it's saved for posterity.
We got to move on.
I'm just here to talk to Sam. All right, all you other guys can just
That's fine. You guys can have a sidebar, and we'll talk amongst ourselves. So anyway, a lot to talk about this week. We got some Mass Effect to talk about. We got that Destiny 2. We got Call of Duty World War II to talk about. But first, I want to go to Jeff. Jeff, you've been playing some GT Sport.
I have.
How long has the beta been going on?
The gaff thread for the beta went up on the 17th. I thought it'd been going on longer than that. So I want to say a couple weeks, I guess, maybe more.
Okay, awesome. I don't know, dude. What are your thoughts? I got to play a little bit at PAX, but I guarantee you I didn't get the experience you did because it's noisy.
Yeah, I mean I love racing games. I love Gran Turismo, but I'm not outside of racing games. I'm not a car person, so I'm kind of clueless when it comes to the tuning and stuff like that. So I can't really. I know some people really get into that stuff. For me, Gran Turismo is like a racer and a car collector. I don't really go crazy on the tweaking, but just kind of giving broad impressions. I played it for like an hour and a half now. The beta, from what I have, is like super limited. There's like 3 tracks. There's only one kind of race you seem to be able to do. I think there's more cars, but I haven't unlocked them yet. So, like, you don't really know with a Gran Turismo game. You're going to have to see what the career is like, how the AI is, what the online, the netcode and stuff's like, the lobbies, the features. I don't really, you can't really get a glimpse of that from this beta, from what I can tell. So it's hard to say what the final game will be like, but it's still, from what I can see, it's still Gran Turismo. Like, it's got the same kind of chill, jazzy menu music, that same menu look. It's a lot more streamlined. Gran Turismo 5, I don't know if anyone played it. That menu was a fucking disaster, and they kind of fixed it in 6. So no, everything's like super slick and polished and streamlined. It loads pretty quick, which was another big problem with some of the PS3 ones, especially like starting a race. It's almost instant. It's gorgeous. It's not. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say it's as mind blowing as it would have been if it came out at PS4 launch, just because Forza Horizon 3 and Forza 7 looks so good.
It's awesome.
They really look good. Yeah.
There's a lot of competition there now, but it is 60 frames a second. And considering that, I think it looks better than Project Cars did when it came out. So it's definitely up there. It looks just as good as any other racer I've played.
What does it sound like? What's it sound like?
It sounds, again, I've only tried a few cars. One of them sounds really shitty, but it's just a low-powered, like I tried one of the AMGs. It sounds better for sure. Gran Turismo has historically had hairdryer engines. So there's it just depends on the perspective. I was watching one of the replays for my races, and the engines are very growly there. But when you're in kind of the first person or cockpit mode, I think it's still not quite as punchy as some of the competition, especially something like Drive Club. Those engines really, really roared. But it's definitely a step forward. I got to see, again, I got to spend more time with it. I got to try more cars and see how it is. And this is the beta. It's not the final release. God knows when the game will actually be out.
I was actually about to ask if we had any inkling as to when this game was going to come out.
Yeah, I mean, they just said 2017. My guess is they're doing what they did with The Last Guardian, where they kind of are afraid to commit to a release date because they don't want to have to keep delaying it.
I don't think it's going to be this fall.
It was originally slated for last fall, so
yeah,
I don't know.
Turismo if it hasn't been delayed 6 times.
Well, I've played some early stuff, and there's not a ton in this, but what is in this feels super polished and like it doesn't feel like it's really far away. So I don't know, but they'll release it when they're finished with it. And obviously, I'd rather them take their time than rush it out to meet, a Q4 deadline or something like that. So.
Which I don't think it's going to hit, because I mean, like all the rumors at this point are saying that God of War is going to be Sony's.
Sony doesn't give a shit. Destiny 2 is going to sell all the PS4s this holiday.
They don't.
They're going to come out with a Destiny 2 branded PS4 Pro.
Guarantee it. Yep. Guaranteed. It's gonna be white. It's gonna be pretty, and I'm not gonna buy it because I don't need another fucking PS4 Pro.
And nor should you.
No, absolutely not. And we're gonna get into Destiny 2 a little later because there's a lot. I mean, we got fucking Mass Effect to talk about too. There's all kinds. I do want to point out real quick that I have been playing Nier Automata.
Man,
I
got my
Automata.
No, I think it's Automata.
It's Automata.
Is it Automata?
I called it Automata when I didn't know how it was supposed to be pronounced.
I called it Automata, and then somebody said no, it's Automata.
According to Easy Allies, I think Ben Moore, they did looked up the actual pronunciation. It looks like it should be Automata.
So I was right, and everyone else was wrong, and then I listened.
Automata.
All right.
Someone can correct me if I'm wrong.
When I saw it spelled out without ever hearing it pronounced.
Well, I'm just going to refer to it as Nier.
Yeah.
As Nier.
Nier A.
But Nier A. But I'll tell you what.
Not far A.
Not far A. I'll tell you what, dude. Brandon, I can't believe you haven't played this yet. This game is right up your fucking
I will
alley.
Absolutely play it.
There's
no way I will not play it.
Dude, within the first 15 minutes, like literally, I was like, this is a Brandon game. Like, and it is fucking awesome, dude. This is Platinum's. This might be their finest game, and I'm like,
that's high praise. You chill out right now.
Dude,
No, I think he has a point though. Like, I think the closest you could get is maybe Okami or the original Bayonetta, but there's some Nier is top tier Platinum.
If it's not their best game, it's up there. It is fucking up there, dude. So this is like the combat in this game is.
I mean, I think they've made several 10 out of 10 games. So
they have. They absolutely have, but I mean, dude, the combat in this game
agree.
is worth the price.
Korra and Ninja Turtles, both.
Hey, Transformers was okay. Transformers was okay.
No, Transformers was devastating.
okay.
shock surprise.
Transformers was alright. I never played Ninja Turtles, but I heard Ninja Turtles was just a pile of utter
But those
garbage.
games were like their
Garbage,
side
yeah.
projects, right? Like they didn't have a big team on either of those.
made by the D team. Yeah,
Yeah, they
Scalebound-
probably were done on like I don't know what the budget was, but
$15.
It really makes you wonder how Scalebound would have turned out.
Ah.
Playing.
Well, they would have
wanted it to
actually
come
had to
out.
focus on developing it, but
Yeah.
that's another.
Scalebound was my game for Xbox this year. Now all my hopes are pinned on the Sea of Thieves.
And
That's it.
I
That's
got
it. Sea of Thieves
I
is
got
the
bad
big
news for you,
Xbox game
friend.
the year.
I got bad news for you. Well, we won't get into that.
I will
no,
play.
okay.
I will
I
play
should
Sea of
specify
Thieves
in
with
terms
you.
of exclusives, and I know Microsoft has so many secrets they're holding to their chest for the E3 Scorpio reveal. Like, look at all these games coming out this holiday that'll utilize Scorpio, and I know that. So going into it, I know there will be more from my Xbox than right now. But looking strictly at what has been announced, it's Sea of Thieves this year because Crackdown 3 doesn't have a release date yet. So
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah.
I
Well, I
can't
will
believe
play Sea of
Crackdown
Thieves.
3 doesn't have a release date.
Crackdown
That
3
game-
will Crackdown 3 will
That was
come
one
this
of the
fall.
first
Dude,
games.
that has to come this fall. That
Did
has
you
to come this
know
fall.
Phantom Dust is supposed to be out like spring?
Yeah.
right,
Have we-
That's a
they're-
remaster, though,
they're
right?
Remaster.
Yeah.
Although I will say, so I want to point out something in chat that both Jesse and Technofabulous stated. I don't want to sell Nier's soundtrack short, but I want to say something else about Nier. That soundtrack is fucking phenomenal. There are I have been like, I do a lot of sprinting and a lot of running, and I have been like working out to the Nier soundtrack, and it is just dope. That soundtrack is fucking dope as hell. Just a great game. Like the story is nonsensical. It's completely fucking nonsense, but who gives a shit? It's so much fun that I love it. I'm trying to blow through it before I have to review Cosmic Star Heroine. But Nier is just a fucking fantastic game. And if you haven't picked it up, I highly recommend you go do it. I cannot recommend it enough. I'll probably do a review for that one as well when I'm done this weekend. So who here? So I know that we covered Mass Effect last week.
Right.
But Sam is a huge Mass Effect guy, and how many hours have you put in Mass Effect now, Sam?
I want to say around 25. It would be further, but school's been hitting me really hard. So I want to say 25 to 30.
So you had
Yeah.
some. I won't ask you to go over everything you talked about last night, but you had some really interesting things to say about Mass Effect last night, and I think we should all hear them.
Okay, so anything in particular, just kind of like a quick run through.
Just like a quick rundown, because I know that you've got some very conflicted feelings.
I mean, yeah, I'm a huge Mass Effect fan. I played the original trilogy like 5 times through, the original game like 8 or 9 times. Okay, so I know what I'm talking about when it comes to Mass Effect. I was super hyped for this, and I think a lot of us all were, even if we had concerns. I thought it was just a guarantee that this game was going to be perfect, right? It just came with the IP name at this point. And that could not be further from the truth. I have never felt so conflicted about a game of this caliber, at least in the past several years. Honestly, if not ever. There's a lot of good to it. The combat's fantastic. Combat's perfect. I could go on and on about how the combat system has been improved and there's no awkward clunkiness that even Mass Effect 3 had. The alien environments, the foreign galaxy, the plot setup, the mystery, all that. Good stuff. But how this game managed to pass EA's certification with all these bugs and glitches, that astounds me.
Ooh, I know how. Because
How?
March 20-somethingth was still in the 2017 fiscal year.
Do you remember what EA did with was it Battlefield 4? There was like a memo or something, and it was like, I don't give a shit. This needs to be out before Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
Am I remembering that wrong, or do you guys remember that?
No, I do remember that actually. Now that you mention
I
it.
do remember that, but this game was developed for 5.5 years. It had a budget bigger than the other 3, probably put together. Like there is no excuse. Like when I was playing
That's so sad.
exploring on
really is.
EOS, the game crashed twice within an hour. Just locked
Really?
up, froze, kicked me back to the main menu.
I must
And
be
another
lucky
time-
because I've never encountered a single glitch or error yet.
You are extremely lucky. I'm actually working on a review with someone else, and they were saying and it's all these weird platform-specific bugs, because I'm playing on Xbox, and they were saying they're playing on PS4 Pro, and if you have anything downloading, even just like a simple, 56 kilobyte update to some game or whatever, the frame rate will tank down to 8 or 9 frames a second.
So,
and go ahead.
No. Please go ahead. Go ahead. I'll make my point after.
I mean, just, I could go on and on digging into the different things. I mean, don't even get me started on how weird the writing quality is, considering that this is BioWare and writing characters is what they're known for. I shouldn't be dealing with lines like, nobody's a pathfinder until they've path-found something.
Oh, come on.
No way.
I put my controller down.
They don't refuse to believe that is
They don't
actually
say
a line
that.
in the game.
Yes, they do. Yes, it is an actual line. I put my controller down and I was rubbing my forehead like, no, come on.
Look. No.
Nobody's
that
a super deformed Gamescast member unless they deform something.
No, let's
Sure. As someone who appreciates a great bad joke, that line,
There's no defending that, man.
smile, ear to ear. I was
That's
like,
an actual line. Holy shit.
Dude, I like a
Yeah.
good dad joke, but come on, that was awful. That was awful beyond comprehension.
Pat found something.
And
You're
then,
not a
like,
beer drinker. You're not a beer drinker until you've beer drank something.
Until you beer drunk something.
You're drunk something.
or
Oh, man.
you guys are making my face tired.
That's a special. I honestly don't even know what they meant by that. Like,
Okay, so here's my question, right? I think the Metascore for this game is like at a 74 or 75, right? Which is fine.
73.
73 now. So
It's a 73.
So whatever. A 7 out of 10 is a good game.
It is.
But
It is on a proper
but-
10-point scale. It is a good game.
But for this particular series from this particular developer, that is missing the mark. Not just in my opinion, but I feel probably a lot of people's opinions.
their own.
So let me ask you guys this. We don't know that we don't know what sales of the game are yet in North America, and we're not going to know obviously until next month. But the game has apparently seen soft sales in the UK, and the UK market matters. It has not reviewed well.
Strong debut in the UK.
It debuted at
Number
number 1, but it debuted behind every other Mass Effect game.
Oh, okay.
So
Well,
like
I think a lot of people were pissed at 3, so I kind of feel like they had an uphill battle after that to begin with.
And
I-
Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yeah.
is disappointing to some.
But so here's my question to you guys.
Game of the year.
Deus Ex, I know Steve loves him some Dragon Age. So Deus Ex is dead, right? And part of the reason it died is because it didn't.
They're making. What do they make it? What kind of games? Are they
Avengers.
making? Marvel games?
The Avengers,
Yeah.
the Avengers now. Which that's fine. Make a good Avengers game, and I still am sad that we're not going to see another Deus Ex game ever. I don't think. But is this enough to kill the Mass Effect franchise, at least for the foreseeable future?
Not a chance.
I guess it would depend on the sales. I mean, they made the announcement that April 4th we're going to hear what their future plans are. So they might be announcing patch updates or add-ons.
They've already done that, dude.
And
didn't they announce recently that they said, hey, on April 4th, we're going to address...
that's what I just said. On April 4th, they're going to announce
Okay, yeah, I missed that part.
something. So I think we can't make that prediction until we hear what they have to say on the 4th.
How do you fix shit like facial animations, though?
That-
You
that's
absolutely do
That's
not.
unfixable.
You can't
It's
do
not
that.
going to get fixed. You can fix the
can't-
glitches. You can fix some of the performance issues.
But you can't fix the writing. You can't fix the facial animations. You can't fix the character models. You can't fix.
It's never going to be a great game.
I
No.
am so happy I'm in the minority that I enjoy the writing because I just am enjoying the game. I'm loving Drac as a character.
But you don't enjoy steak.
Well, here's one thing I will say. Let me just interject this: the storyline writing does get a lot better after a certain point. But that brings up another issue because it's like, okay, even if it's phenomenal at this point, why would you put players through 10 to 15 hours of all this front-loaded garbage and then let them enjoy something good? Like, there's a complete disconnect. It honestly feels like character to character, scene to scene, there were two different teams writing it.
It's the video game equivalent of when you tell someone like your favorite show, but you're like, the first season's not that great, but you just have to push through it, and then it gets really good. Like, it doesn't matter. A lot of people aren't willing to put in that initial effort.
But you shouldn't have. I don't know. In my opinion, you shouldn't have to put in I'm a little tired, and to each his own. But I'm a little tired of people saying, well, after 5 or 6 hours it gets good, or after 10 hours it gets good. A lot of people made that complaint about Final Fantasy 13. Well, after 20 hours it gets good.
Man, I won't give a
you know,
game more than like 2 hours. There's games I can play that are awesome from the start. Why would
Yeah.
I play
I don't-
something that takes
6
time to-
hours to get good is 5
Yeah.
hours too many.
That's
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons that Assassin's Creed 3 lost me, because I was like, when the fuck do I actually start the game? I was like, holy shit. I don't
Where's
have
Charles Lee?
where's Charles Lee? You know, I've got so many games to play. I don't have time to wait 5 to 10 hours for a game to grab me. I just don't. I'm with Jeff. If a game doesn't grab me within an hour or two, I'm moving on. I don't have time for that. And I really wonder. I'm really curious to see what the sales figures are going to look like, because I'm not sure a whole lot of other people have time for that as well. I think sales will be fine out the gate, but I do not think this game is going to have legs at all.
I'll say the multiplayer is pretty fun, and I should have addressed this last week, but I was
Speak
on
on
the
it.
phone.
No,
Yeah.
speak on it. Speak on it.
I'll say it's solid. It's fun as a standalone multiplayer game. You run around. It's survival. You survive 7 waves, and then you extract in their varying waves. What you'll do is act as a team and just fight against the horde of enemies that are fighting against you. And then you'll open chests after the fact. You'll get gear. You'll level characters. And you have this prestige option too, where if you play enough, you'll get permanent stats that go across all the jobs. So that's an interesting take on a familiar formula they used in Dragon Age Inquisition with their multiplayer system, but it's just much less polished. And there are aspects of it that are just really strange, very glitchy. Enemies can walk through cover in some cases. They disappear for a second. It happens enough. And when you look at...
Are we sure Bethesda didn't make this game?
Yeah, it's like it's a different team, or they didn't take
No,
any
it is a different
practices
team.
from the last two series.
It is a different team. No, dude, the fucking B team made Andromeda.
I mean,
Well,
but
I don't want to call them a B team. I don't like tiering development.
You totally can.
I don't know what else to call them though. Like I know it's not the normal team. It's
The
like,
less experienced team.
It's the equivalent of Batman Arkham Origins.
I mean, just compared to how polished the Dragon Age multiplayer was, to the point where people are still enjoying that, and for good reason. This just doesn't. It followed a similar formula, but it just doesn't stand up. And
I love the multiplayer. Man,
the multiplayer in Mass Effect, you're saying?
but
Yeah,
do you,
it is fun.
but do you guys
but
see
as a
yourself playing it
standalone-
like 3 months from now?
no, but I love the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, and I stopped playing that after a couple months, but those few months were awesome.
I
That's
think
something
people
I'll
will
agree
still
with.
play it.
I enjoy the multiplayer, especially if you have a team you're cooperating with and you're, coordinating, laying down fire together. It's pretty fun.
Yeah,
I still need to
That's good.
play with Hohei.
I don't know. I've got so many games coming out that I not just have to play or need to play or want to play, but I can't. I don't have time for Mass Effect, and that really sucks. I was really looking forward to Andromeda, and everything I've heard just makes me not want to play it. I've got other, and like here's the question I asked I was on Basement Radio Arcade last night, and here's the question I asked them. In a world where you've got games like Zelda, and we're talking open world games, in a world where games like Zelda and Horizon exist, these beautiful games with interesting things to do in the world and interesting stories to be told, games like Horizon that are just absolutely fucking drop dead gorgeous. Horizon looks better than it has any right to be with a world that massive. Do you guys think that Mass Effect Andromeda, had it released the last generation, would have scored higher? Like, and here's the other question to ask. Think about Fallout 4 and the scores it got, right? Like it got I just checked, it got like an 87 on Meta, right? Which is great. That's a great score. Despite all the bugs, despite the stilted character models, despite the animations, despite the facial animations, despite the just okay combat, it scored really well. And I feel like that game got a pass for a lot of the same things that Mass Effect Andromeda didn't. And I'm wondering why, and two, I'm wondering, is there an excuse for open world games like Mass Effect Andromeda and Fallout in a post Zelda and Horizon world? Jeff, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, I beat Fallout 4. I put 50 hours into that, and I've played 12 hours of Mass Effect. So, on the surface, I think they both have some of the same bug issues, some of the same dated mechanics. But I think the reason Fallout 4 gets a pass is because Bethesda games are so unique in the way that they let you kind of create your own stories. I mean, it sounds like an excuse, and maybe it is, but like, even though the writing in Fallout 4 I don't think was very good, the main quest was garbage. But that's not why I played that game. Like, I just got through the main quest. It's just about wandering off in any direction, and that game is so fucking dense. Everywhere you turn, there's something to find, something to do. There's like a new building to comb through and loot. And
yeah, there's always a little icon on your compass.
Yeah, and there's always
it's only 20
and,
meters away. Might as well go.
And the writing doesn't matter. The main story doesn't matter. The characters don't matter because none of that shit. You're not doing that. You're just shooting enemies.
I beat Fallout 4 and I just mashed through every dialogue box.
Exactly. But in Mass Effect, you don't have that. It's all about the characters and the writing and the story and the plot. So when that stuff's not up to snuff, there's nothing else to fall back on except, I guess, the combat.
Exactly.
Which I've heard is good. I've heard the combat is good.
The combat's fantastic.
You know, it's great, but I think it. I don't know. I don't think that's enough now. You know, I mean, I dumped about 70 hours in Horizon. It took me about 7 hours to get the platinum. I did everything. And I don't remember in those 70 hours in that massive open world with those beautiful visuals, I don't remember a single glitch. I can't, and I'm trying to call to mind. I never had the game crash. I never had Aloy fall through the world or clip through anything. I never saw, Thunderjaw shoot in the air. I never saw. Trees didn't disappear. Textures never loaded in. I never saw. I mean, the only time the game even loads is when you're fast traveling. Apart from that, everything in that game is seamless. And then you think about Zelda and the fact that they packed that massive, beautiful open world into that tiny little cartridge. I think Mass Effect is, but it's not just these two games either. Like as Jesse and Sam pointed out in chat, The Witcher 3 is another great example. That came out in 2015. That came out in 2015, and it was a beautiful, massive open world. I mean, yeah, it wasn't for me, but I recognize that it was a phenomenal game. It just wasn't for me. So I feel like Mass Effect Andromeda is getting weighed against the fact that there are other open world games doing it much better, and reviewers and gamers are finding that there is just simply no excuse for stuff like this anymore. If if Guerrilla Games can do it, if Nintendo can do it, if CD Projekt Red can do it, then an established, talented developer like BioWare should be able to do this no problem.
And I think that's really where the fault lies with me. I mean, again, great standalone game, great standalone multiplayer, but given that it's BioWare, I just expected a lot more. And given the other experiences, you could have built on those instead of detracted from those. And it's strange to get it as long as they have compared to what they used to get right. So, again, I'm still going to play it. You guys are going to see me on the multiplayer a lot more than I should be. But, I'm a little disappointed that it wasn't a more polished version of the stuff I liked about their other games.
Well, let me ask you guys this. Do you think that, so these changes that they're announcing on April 4th, do you guys think this is too little too late?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine for people who've already bought it, but the first impressions are everything. You don't get a second chance to make a first impression, right?
Yep.
The word's out there. It's not on the level of No Man's Sky, but it's like, it doesn't matter how much Hello Games patches that game and adds to it. People know it sucks, right? Like, whether or not it does.
Yeah, I think it's the issues themselves. Like you said, you're not going to change the facial animations. A few of the other things that just will consist of, or a lot of the criticism consists of these problems. Again, because it's story-centric, those modeling problems are going to be front and center. And I don't know, but I don't think the patch is going to address that kind of stuff. The bugs and stuff can go away. Again, that seems to be user specific. On the single player, I haven't played much of it, but I haven't seen that.
Like, my brother is a huge Mass Effect fanboy. Like, he loves Mass Effect. He's like Shinobi. He loves Shinobi. Shout out, man. We love you, bud. This is his most disappointing game in the past. Well, certainly for this generation, and maybe even beyond that. He's told me. He says, "Hey, this is." He says, "No other game, at least since the start of Generation 8, has disappointed me as much as Mass Effect does. Not because it's a bad game, but because it's not a great game. And Mass Effect deserves a higher caliber of game than this."
Agreed.
And I really wonder what this means for the future of the series. I can tell you this much: as far as BioWare is concerned, their next game is going to have the best fucking facial animations you have ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
the new engine.
I feel like they have a trilogy plan. Like there's got to be some level of work already being done on a sequel. And they've put so much time and money into this one, like to just ditch their plans for more. I don't know. I feel like they're going to take a step back and really make sure they address the feedback. But I mean, they're a big enough studio and they got EA backing them. They can afford one lukewarm reception. It's not going to kill them.
I hope not. I really hope not. I feel like this. I feel like this series deserves a second chance. I mean, it's Mass Effect. I mean, nobody wants to see Mass Effect go away. I mean,
it's one of EA's biggest franchises in general. Yeah.
I'd say it's one of gaming's bigger franchises. I mean,
it's definitely the biggest franchise that was born out of last gen. I'd say.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Assassin's Creed maybe.
I was about to say Call of Duty.
I'd say it'd be like Assassin's Creed, Gears of War,
Call of Duty, and Uncharted.
Yeah.
And
Gears isn't big anymore.
Call of Duty predates last gen, doesn't it?
There was Call of Duty.
Yeah, it does actually. No, Jeff's right, dude. Jeff's right. It does.
Well, but Call of Duty, as we know it, I guess started with Modern Warfare.
Pretty much, yeah. That's what I meant to say.
Okay, yeah.
I think those are fair
I
statements.
mean, I've been playing Call of Duty since the first one. So.
Or Torpdeo, I should say.
Torpedo. I'm glad.
Maybe that's a good time to segue into Call of Duty going back to its roots here.
I was just about to say, I think we've beat the Mass Effect horse to death.
Yeah, at some point, whoever came up with the indoctrination theory will just explain to us what the hell's going on in Mass Effect right now. And we'll all be like, oh, yeah, no, I totally get it now.
The animations and the faces are actually just like genetic sabotage by the Reapers.
The Reapers.
There you go. Jeff's already on it.
They just fucked with those. They fucked with those embryonic states, and everyone came out of stasis just like all fucked right up.
Assuming
it's canon
control. That's awesome. Man, maybe I don't know. I'll pick it up and play it at some point, maybe, but it won't be anytime soon. Probably even this year. But I think Brandon's right. I think that's a great segue into Call of Duty World War II.
Terrible name.
It's a terrible name.
What a horrible name.
It's a horrible name. Yeah, it's so obviously aping Battlefield 1's. Call of Duty World War II. Okay, like you couldn't have called it Call of Duty Omaha Beach.
What's
Call
all
of Duty that will end all Call of Duty.
Like Call of Duty
for Call of Duty fans, you have to really spell it out for them.
Call of Duty Wolfenstein. I mean, call it something better than World War II. But I mean,
they couldn't even call it like World at War II and just make
that would have been perfect, dude.
Sure.
That would have been great. Look at that.
There's implications though with that they probably don't want to get into.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
the time period.
I mean, we don't know anything about this, so this might be something completely that wouldn't make sense as a sequel to World at War. I don't know.
Yeah.
And we got 30 people watching us, by the way, but only 15 talking to chat. You guys get in there, mix it up, and chat. We love hearing from you guys. We love talking to you guys. And I've actually got a special announcement to make at the end of the podcast, by the way. So stay tuned for that. I almost forgot about that. We're gonna be giving a game away next week, and at the end of the podcast, I'm gonna tell you what it is. So Call of Duty World War II. We theorized this right here on this podcast last year that the next Call of Duty would not be a futuristic shooter. We said this, and I could not be happier. Not that we were right, but I feel like Call of Duty just didn't do science fiction well.
No,
it didn't.
No, it didn't.
No, it tried to, but it didn't. I picked up Infinite Warfare. I played it for 2 hours, and I was like, no, not for me. I'm done. I remember, Steve, you and I went through about 4 or 5 hours of Black Ops 3 co-op.
Yeah,
we decided it was a shitty poor man's destiny, and we were done.
It was painful.
That was awful. That was an awful fucking experience. I don't know.
But it was for charity. Yeah, that was
It was for charity, so that was good. But I feel bad for everybody who donated to us and actually had to watch us play that.
Well, it wasn't us.
It was rough. Yeah, I don't know. World War II. What do you guys think? Because Call of Duty has been on the decline for the past 4 years now, year over year, every year.
And yet it's still
since Black Ops 2, I think.
Yeah, but I guarantee you, Destiny 2 outsells it this year.
It's been losing. It's been losing ground.
Oh yeah, no, Destiny
heavy ground.
It's a pendulum, and it always happens. No shooter series stays on top forever. GoldenEye gave way to Halo, which gave way to Call of Duty, which every year has seceded market share to Battlefield, and Destiny took a huge chunk out of that. So this is the year I think Call of Duty stops being as relevant. I think.
I would argue it stopped being relevant
Well,
as relevant as it has been last year. Jeff,
what-
go ahead.
What I'm curious about to see how they handle is like Battlefield's very different, and I feel like Call of Duty. You've seen how the multiplayer is, like the skins and like some of the crazy mechanics that people can pull off. Like
It's about being
futuristic-
fast and dumb.
Yeah, and like now you go
Right.
back to World War II. Does that huge multiplayer audience go with it? Do they want to slow down? Like, you know what I mean? What about can you put like a purple gun skin in a World War II game? Like, I don't know. It's gonna be that's where so much of their money is.
Like Call of
Yeah.
Duty is just a meat grinder of stupidity. It's just fast respawns and small maps and just people endlessly running into each other.
Yeah,
and dying
throwing
over and over again.
knives like
With
up the
stupid
sky
ass
across, like
weapons,
knowing exactly
guns,
where they're gonna land.
For some people that's enough, but
Are they going to keep the microtransaction system of being able to pay for better weapons?
absolutely. Oh yeah, dude, that's a money maker.
Which is just asinine
we
because it
hate on
actually
it.
affects the gameplay. It's not just cosmetics. That's what gets me.
And we hate
Well, I
on
mean-
it, and we think it's stupid. But Activision is raking in money on their games for service microtransactions.
So
People are still having fun in those twitchy games. It's
they are, but but honestly, dude, I think people are going to flock to Destiny 2 this year, and I obviously Call of Duty World War II. It's going to sell great. It's going to sell fine.
Isn't Battlefront 2 this year as well?
Yes, that will, and I think that's going to take a
That's
chunk
gonna
out
be
of it too, especially with the with the Star Wars movie hitting. So that's going to get
And
a
a
lot of playtime.
campaign mode.
And a campaign, yes.
There are so many.
We know DICE makes such great campaigns.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they're just the master. Although Battlefield Bad Company's campaign was fucking phenomenal.
That
But again,
yeah, how many of those people still work there?
I was gonna say
Yeah, I
nobody
know.
That was
there
like
is
10
left.
fucking years
I
ago.
know. That's what I really want is another Battlefield Bad Company. I would fucking love that. But I don't know.
But would you now? Like they said, everyone's gone, so you'd get.
With the OG team, I would. Let me caveat
Okay.
that. Let me caveat that because that's a great point. I mean, I said I'd love another Mass Effect, and look how that turned out. So
That monkey paw wish. The
I know.
genies
Oh, that's a great
go
analogy.
like, ha ha ha.
Solid analogy. I like that. I don't know. Do
The
you
thing
guys
is, though, it's not just DICE that's making Battlefront 2. They've got Criterion and Motive helping them out.
Isn't
Motive
Criterion
okay.
like 20 people?
Criterion is Need for Speed, and they're handling the vehicle implementation.
Oh
And,
no,
uh,
yeah, you're
And
right.
then Motive Studios is the ones who are working on the.
No, well, wait, no, isn't it Ghost? Criterion's only like 15 people. Because they took everyone and put them in Ghost games. That's who's making Need for Speed now, and for like the last 2 or 3 of them. And who's making
Okay.
this year's? I think Criterion is just like a satellite studio that just helps out on whatever.
I think you're probably right.
Because I bet they're helping out on this year's Need
Probably.
for Speed as well.
I don't
I'm
know.
looking forward to it either way.
I am too. I mean, it excites me more than Call of Duty has in years because I'm a student of history. I'm a World War II buff, and I have always found that the series operates best when it's got its feet on the ground, when it's grounded, not with jetpacks and exoskeletons and Kevin Spacey with the eyes of a fucking salmon that's been in the fridge for a week.
Yeah,
Like,
but
I
we just talked about these studios that where the original talent's gone, and I know that's where Call of Duty made its mark on the ground with like Modern Warfare. But like these studios, can they go back and make that same kind of game? Like the Respawn guys are gone, right?
yeah, no, they're doing Titanfall. Yep.
So
Which was really well done this last.
Titanfall is. I can't believe that game didn't get
like
tracked.
Sledgehammer did Advanced Warfare. Can they go make a boots on the ground Call of Duty?
I mean, that's a valid point, man. I mean,
I really liked Advanced Warfare's campaign. So
It was good, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But for what it was, like it was all about the toys and stuff.
here's the
Yeah.
thing. Here's the thing with Call of Duty World. Here's the thing with the new Call of Duty is that you're probably looking at a 4-hour campaign, because as Brandon and
they've
others
been
pointed out-
getting progressively longer every year. So it might be like a good 7 hours.
Yeah, that's where
I
my
mean,
head
what-
was at too.
I mean, I like that. I like that. I mean, I'm going to pick it up for the World War II setting, but I can almost guarantee you, my multiplayer time is going to be divided between Destiny 2 and Battlefront 2. I'm not going to touch Call of Duty's multiplayer. I don't care.
I'll still be playing Overwatch. That's all right.
You'll still be playing Overwatch, and that's fine. But I don't know. Do you guys see yourselves picking up a World War II themed Call of Duty? No?
No, not with Destiny 2, Battlefront 2, Crackdown 3, Sea of Thieves. No, there's way too much coming out this year for me to be concerned with.
So let me throw this out to you guys as a whole. Then, are we saying that this is the year that Call of Duty officially becomes not irrelevant, but second tier to games like Destiny?
Replace Yes.
Is
Destiny
one of your
2.
play- Is this the year that it happens?
Probably.
Do we think Destiny 2 has what it takes to fix its mistakes and capitalize on its name branding? Because if they come out and it's still has the same issues people had with 1, then no.
The gameplay
Because-
is so solid, though.
Have we seen the? We're waiting on the pure gameplay trailer.
We're waiting on the gameplay, but I mean, Shinobi's leaks were basically proven correct, right? So
I didn't see those.
you didn't see those? Okay, so
What?
so Destiny 2's deal is that, and Shinobi said this like a month ago on GAF.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
So yeah, it's out there. Gameplay is going to take primarily on the moons surrounding Saturn, and the one of those moons, the play space is going to be bigger than every single play space in Destiny combined.
And that's how it should.
There's going to be towns. There's going to be outposts with quest givers, as opposed to beacons. One of the cool things, one of the cool new additions they've done is if you want to do matchmaking for like either PvP or raids or strikes, you can do that organically. You don't have to go to orbit to do it. You can do it as you do quests. Yep. There's matchmaking for that, so you can just run around and do stuff like that. There's a much more structured story, and there's going to be much more frequent content added throughout the year by Bungie. But it is much more of an open world style. Go here and do this kind of game than original Destiny was. So and they've got like I don't know, Jeff, maybe you can help. I thought I'd seen you talk about this earlier, Jeff. I may be wrong, but they've got like hundreds of fucking people from like 2 different. I know High Moon Studios is helping out with Destiny 2. They worked on the Transformers War for Cybertron games, which were great.
Oh, those are good.
Mm-hmm. Those were really good.
I still remember that PS2 game they made. Dark
so fucking good, dude. Those games were great. But I mean, it's not just Bungie working on Destiny 2. They've got like whole teams from other studios.
It's all hands on deck. Yeah.
It is a massive effort. And I think this game is going to. I think Destiny 2 is going to be the game that outsells Call of Duty. Finally, I think
that's
Destiny
a bold
2.
statement. I don't know about that, but
no,
it's possible. I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility.
I think if any game is going to do it, it's going to be Destiny 2. The hype behind this fucking game the hype train is going to be unbelievable.
I want John.
It's on PC this year too.
Yep.
That is a huge deal.
Yep.
Although, an interesting note on that, you can't pre-order it yet. The retailers aren't announced. And it seems to me if it were just going to be thrown up on Steam that they would have that. So I'm wondering if there's a Play Anywhere deal happening.
Hey, we've actually got a question in chat from It's High Noon, who I've never seen in here before, so welcome. We're glad you're here.
I like that name.
Brandon flinched when he said that, by the way.
Someone's
that?
after Brandon's heart.
Brandon flinched. He was visibly disturbed by that statement.
Yeah.
I can't say that it's high noon around Brandon right now.
Brandon, all of a sudden, Brandon starts shaking. He's like, oh. Do you guys think we are getting a new Resistance game?
No.
Nope.
No.
Yeah,
Sadly, no, because all the Insomniac teams working on Spider-Man.
Yep.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure they're doing another Ratchet and Clank.
I guarantee.
Dude, you know damn well they are. Absolutely.
I want them to make enough I want them to get to Up Your Arsenal because that's my all-time favorite Ratchet game.
Yeah, Up Your Arsenal is fucking fantastic. But yeah, to answer your question, we don't think. You're not gonna see it. I think that series is done. If they do one, you're not going to see it until after Spider-Man, and that's going to be 5 years from now.
Unless they give it to another team, but I can't picture who they give it to.
No, I mean, who are they going to give it to? I mean,
But I brought this up last time when we talked about how kind of with Horizon replacing Killzone, Sony doesn't have a first-person shooter. If Killzone's done, maybe they look to bring back Resistance. But yeah, the question is who works on it.
I'd love
that was
it personally.
a good conversation about that. That's worth checking out.
Yeah. You guys actually should go check that out. That was a really good conversation. Which episode was that?
That was the last one, the one that died.
That was the one that died. Okay, yeah.
So it's a short one to get through. You don't have to book a whole day off.
Yeah, but it's great. Yeah, that was. I'm still pissed off about that episode. We had a really good thing going, and just thanks a lot, XSplit. So I don't know. Are you guys going to pick up? You guys saw the trailer today. What did you think of the trailer? It had a much more goofy tone to it than we're used to from Destiny. Almost kind of Borderlands-ish in a way.
It screamed confidence to me.
You think so?
Yeah. I think
first
they
Destiny
know what they're
trailers
going
were
for
pretty
here.
goofy.
It's a very humorous tone, a very lighthearted tone, even with the setup of the city being destroyed. It's actually, even if it's still obnoxious, a funny explanation for why you've lost all your loot.
Yep.
And I think if all the leaks are true, which they should be, and they've actually taken the feedback to heart, I think they're going to knock it out of the park.
I hope they do, because I mean, I think having a coherent story and a narrative-driven aspect to it, even if most people ignore it and just play multiplayer and raids and stuff, but for the people that like a story and a narrative and characters to care about, I think that was one of the big things missing from Destiny, that they slowly added in with expansions and the Taken King and everything, but having a base game with a strong narrative pull. Because, I mean, Bungie can do that. And I really hope it's something they pull off.
I'm just glad that we've got Sweeping Robot back.
Oh, man.
Sweeping Robot was my man. And to me, honestly, Sweeping Robot was the real hero of Destiny. Because for years and years and years, he swept that one spot. He didn't move. I don't know what was on the fucking floor, but he probably died.
He got it.
He died trying to get that. He died trying to get that, whatever that was, off the floor. And honestly, I mean, there are people who gave up on Destiny who said, "I'm done." Sweeping Robot never gave up, and for that, to me, he is the true hero.
Yeah.
Of OG Destiny.
Plus, evidently, Zur survived. You can see him in the background in one of the scenes.
I know.
Of the trailer.
Yeah. Well, maybe he. Okay. Well, maybe he didn't die. Oh, it could just be another model of Sweeping Robot. To be perfectly honest, I like to think that he died heroically, sweeping whatever that was up. That to me is the most poetic ending for him.
What else do we got?
What's that?
What else do we got?
What about Destiny? I'm not.
No, I mean like anything but Destiny.
Are you just completely done talking about
Destiny?
Why do you want to talk about Destiny more, man? That was a great fucking trailer.
I think we covered it.
I don't think the trailer was that good.
Really? Speak on it, man.
No,
I got
come
more
on.
out of
That trailer
Shinobi's.
had more personality and charm than the entirety of the first game.
Let me rephrase it. I think that trailer is great for existing Destiny players.
Okay, that's fair.
As someone who played vanilla, then stopped, didn't even play the first raid, bought the Taken King, tried to get back into it. It doesn't do anything to like tell me what's better or what's like. It didn't tell me anything really. Okay, there's an attack and you got to fight. Like you guys are right. It's confident. It's full of personality, and that's great. Like I like the tone of it, but like getting me actually excited about the game. Like I need that gameplay. Like it didn't even have to show gameplay, but something in that trailer had to like tell me this is like what's like taking Destiny to the next level, or this is what you really should be excited about. And I don't know. It felt like another teaser.
Basically, we should wait till the gameplay trailer drops and then ask you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's probably a better idea.
Or just get you drunk and tweet out the buy it now link.
There you go. That's perfect.
There you go.
Okay, so Steve wants to move on, so we'll move on because I like to keep you guys happy. So Jeff,
Appreciate it.
Jeff, you're such a condescending ass. Jeff, you finally got your Switch, man.
I did.
I think Brandon and Steve are the only ones on the podcast who don't have a Switch at this point.
What am I going to do with it?
Yeah,
exactly.
That's the question that Jeff is asking himself. So, Jeff, I want you to speak on you. You have not given your impressions of the Nintendo Switch yet, so I would like you to tell us what your thoughts are on your brand new purchase, please.
It's a nice device. It feels good. It looks cool. And without Zelda, it's useless. Like there's like, I played Zelda on Wii U. I bought Shovel Knight for it, which is a good game, but it's just like it's so bare bones. I went to the store. There's not even categories for different types of games. There's not themes to buy or like it's like nothing. There's like a little tiny list of some games with a search icon, and it's just so bare bones. I couldn't believe how it just was clearly rushed to market. What's there is good.
It was absolutely
it feels like half a console right now, and man, it's good that they launched that with Zelda because this thing would not be in good shape if it didn't.
I think they launched Zelda with Switch, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. Well, they met halfway. Zelda could have been shipped last year on Wii U, and Switch probably shouldn't have launched till this holiday, but they kind of bumped up Switch and delayed Zelda to meet in the middle and get them out together. So
I think everything wrong with the Switch. Like now that I've had, I've been playing my Switch a lot since March 3rd when it came out. I don't regret my purchase. I like it. I really love it. In fact, the promise of the console is amazing to me. The potential, but that's what it is. It's potential. It's unrealized potential. And the Switch has some serious issues that it needs to work out, and it needs to work them out sooner rather than later. Our friend Anthony Agnello at Games Radar, he was on the podcast or the other weekend. We did a Final Fantasy 15 spoiler cast. I don't know if you guys saw on Twitter today, but his Switch, he had to send it in for repair or something. He had 60 hours worth of Breath of the Wild data on there, and when he got it back, it was gone. All of it's gone because you can't transfer your saves off the console's internal memory. And Jeff, you weren't aware of this, apparently.
I had no idea. How the fuck? When was the last time game saves were like locked to a system with no way to get them off there?
The 64 had memory cards.
The 90s.
I mean, holy shit.
I mean, I'm not saying there isn't, because there totally could be. I just can't think. I know you can do it. I haven't tried it. I think you can do it with the Wii U. I know the PS3, you could just copy them to USB stick. PS2, I'm sure
PS2 had memory cards, so yeah.
PS1 had a memory card.
Transfer the memory card. Yeah, memory cards on CD-based games since forever.
There's no way to get that data off the piece of hardware. That just blows my mind.
Yeah,
so
I have talk about just how stupid it is that the internal memory of the Switch isn't even big enough for some of the launch games.
Unbelievable! Come on, are you kidding me?
They're already the Switch.
What is it, like 32 gigs or something like that? 32 gigabytes?
Yeah, 32. Yeah. And the thing about the Switch is fanboys on either side will point to the Xbox and the PlayStation, depending on where they fall, and claim, oh, that price isn't the real price because you have all these secret costs. You have to buy PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live, and you have to get this, and you have to get that. But the Switch is the most nickel and dime system I've seen in ages. It's like, oh, you want another pair of Joy-Cons to play with a friend? $80. You want
$80 fucking dollars?
$70. You want?
Sorry, Matt. Can I just piggyback off that for a second?
Yeah.
So that's something I'm noticing with it. So I just have what came in the box. The grip. There's no to charge the Joy-Cons because I don't play portable. It's docked almost 100% of the time, and I can't just plug the controller in. There's no charging port on the controller, on the grip. I have to go buy a charging grip to charge them. Otherwise, I have to slide the Joy-Cons off, kind of reach into my entertainment system where I keep the Switch, and then hook them onto the actual display in the dock to charge them. Because the Joy-Cons also don't have anything to charge them. They can only be charged when they're connected to the display.
Or Jeff, when you spend $50 on the fucking Joy-Con charger.
Yeah, exactly. You have to buy
$50.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, the fucking Pro controller is $70.
You can't even buy the Pro controller. I don't even like the Joy-Cons. I'm trying to find one. They're all out of stock everywhere.
You can buy mine if you want, dude. I never use it.
The memory card thing is almost as bad as the Vita.
No, the memory card thing is worse than the Vita because you can't transfer. You can't even transfer your fucking saved games out of the memory cards.
I'm talking price-wise.
Oh, price-wise. Okay, yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, no, dude, the Vita memory cards were fucking exorbitant. But there's no. What's that?
Did you guys see the sales numbers out of Japan?
Oh, they're fucking bonkers, dude.
It's outpacing the PlayStation 4.
Unbelievable. So
that's nuts.
So here's my question. It's selling it's selling phenomenally. There is talk of it revitalizing the console industry in Japan.
I mean, yeah, because Zelda is one of the best games ever made.
Well,
it is.
After John, I have a theory about that.
So I want to ask you guys this, right? With everything that the Switch is, because there were a lot of questions. We had conversations on this podcast about what the Switch, how the Switch was going to perform, and I think a few of us are eating crow because it's selling phenomenally, not just in Japan but all over the world. It's selling despite a lot of things, not because of a lot of things. So why, with everything that's missing from a things that gamers expect in 2017, right? Like a robust online service. Now I know we're getting that this fall, but we don't have it right now. No trophy support, which is important to a lot of people. The fucking inability to remove save games from the internal storage of the console itself. And admittedly, rather sparse lineup right now. Why is this thing selling the way it is? What is it? I don't get me wrong. I love my Switch. Despite all these things, I love it. So maybe that's why. But why is this thing selling to the masses the way it is? Why does this resonate with people the way it is right now?
The marketing's been pretty good. Like the gimmick.
But is that it? The gimmick of being able to take your games wherever you want? I see Matt. Go ahead. Torpdeo. Go ahead, man.
Well, look, the thing in Japan at least is PlayStation 4 was kind of a surprise that it even sold that well because dedicated consoles had been dying out. Mobile and handheld gaming was where everyone was, and then the Switch comes along and allows them both options, and that I think is why Japan has embraced it so hard, and it doesn't hurt that Zelda is phenomenal. Worldwide, I think you are finding people. You could call it a gimmick, you could call it a novelty, but the reality is this is a console that is portable in 100% the best ways. The Vita had the remote play, but you had to have a crazy powerful and stable network to utilize it. The Switch is just done, go, and it works.
Unless it scratches your screen.
Right, yeah, but that's not the issue.
I mean, come on now. No, dude. A lot of people. I will tell people, and Jeff, I will.
No, I'm agreeing with you, but you're asking why it's selling.
Okay, go ahead.
And Zelda's a huge part of that. The real question will be, and also whether or not it's real or artificial demand, like supply and demand issues.
I think it's both.
The fact that you can't find it fuels that. Now the question will be, will this be sustainable? Because if you remember, after the Wii, when it dropped hard because games stopped coming out for it.
But it wasn't selling like this right out the gate. Like, it sold well, but it wasn't selling like this, man.
It sold pretty good the first few weeks.
It didn't have
Zelda, right?
Will it stay this way? Because Mario's in the holiday, and then you have Splatoon 2 and Mario Kart.
I think Mario Kart is going to surprise a lot of people the way it's selling. Just looking at the way it's tracking on Amazon. Just looking at the way it's tracking on Amazon, I think that is going to sell incredibly well. I mean, it has to, right? I mean, there's not a whole lot of fucking AAA games you can play right now.
Yeah, I think
if you're looking for the reason why it's selling so well, I would defer you to my comments I've made about this 6 months ago in my predictions.
So hold on. I want to point out real quick. This is the part where Steve, the smartest man on the podcast, he's like, "I'm going to tell you all why you're a bunch of fucking idiots."
No, that's not what I'm doing. But
I know.
I am gloating at the idea that I said that there was untapped mobile market, and using a lot of what was out there that we were already discussing with other guests on our podcast to include Dan and some of his numbers that he had put forward. That mobile market is huge. And then to tack on to what Torpdeo was saying, there's a whole nother cultural consideration in Japan too, because you can't really play a console in Japan while you're in school, because the parents there will give their kids so much crap, and that's why there's internet cafes and gaming cafes, and why people love taking their stuff with them outside of the house, and that's the best peace of mind they can have while playing a game. But yeah, you have to give Nintendo credit for targeting a market that was just playing bad video games, and they're making people take notice. You don't have to play crappy games on a $700 device. You can play pretty good games or great games on something much cheaper, and yeah, you may have to shell out for some of the peripherals. I think it's working for them so far. I'm glad to see that it is.
And
it is, but go ahead, Jeff.
No, and it's also, the Wii U was just kind of this. I don't think you can really compare Switch sales to the Wii U sales, just because there was so much confusion over what the Wii U was. So many people still think it's just a Wii accessory, but the Switch, it's going after that console Nintendo market. But it's also a 3DS accessory, even though they're still supporting the 3DS. And, right. The 3DS is a 50 million plus unit seller.
They have to be given credit for their much better marketing this time around. And also the fact that And I pointed this out when that teaser trailer came out in I think it was October or something.
Yeah.
When you noticed that it was all 20-somethings and older in the trailer, there was not a kid or a family to be seen, because Nintendo finally realized they have that market locked up. A family or a kid's going to see Nintendo, and they're in. They needed to focus on the people that had either left Nintendo behind or just didn't care, and they focused their marketing on some place that they've never focused their marketing before, and it was focused.
Although let's be honest. Hold on. There's some serious echo going on. I can hear myself from somebody. I don't know what that was all about. That was weird. But let's be honest. In regards to that marketing, I know what commercial you're talking about. It was if you took your Switch to a roof party like that and we're like, guys, let's play some Mario Kart, you get laughed out of the building. You'd be like,
but that's not the point. Point is they focused on they focused on a new demographic, and it's paying off because
it is.
You are Nintendo. Look at the Wii U marketing, and whether or not the fact that their messaging was awful because no one even knew if it was a successor or an add-on, but all of their commercials were kids and families, people that they didn't have to pander to because they were already going to buy a Nintendo. So they were smart. They shifted focus. And I think it's really paying off because you are getting people invested in Nintendo all over again.
So I've got a question for you guys then.
Yeah, sure. Man.
It's got a strong start, and I honestly think it'll be fine this year. Mario Kart's going to be big. Splatoon is going to be huge in Japan because they love that shit. A new Mario, like the first big 3D Mario since 64, is going to be huge in the West.
Yep.
And let's say, there's the rumors about Pokemon Stars or whatever. Let's say that launches this year. They've got Zelda and Mario and Pokemon out, which means minimum it's going to be another 3 years before they can push another Zelda or Mario. Like mainline. I'm not talking about like a new Mario Bros. Like, those, they've kind of used up all those in the first year. So moving to 2018, they've got like Xenoblade Chronicles and maybe more Fire Emblem. But what do they really have? Like big names to push that in the West.
Metroid. Bring Metroid.
Metroid is great. If Metroid is not announced at E3, I will eat crow. But Metroid is being announced at E3 for 2018 launch. And then you'll notice they've very specifically not announced their Smash Bros. Port. I guarantee you Switch gets a Smash Bros. Port that they can.
I don't want a port. I just want to do Smash Brothers.
It's not going to be new. He already said he's not doing a new one. It's going to be an expanded one, like with the promised ice climbers and missing characters like that.
Okay, I'm down with that.
But they can drop that down at another drought, like how they're doing with Mario Kart, when they're like, like Mario Kart could have 100% been a launch title, but they were smart enough to push it off to when people were just getting tired of Zelda, Mario Kart will drop.
So we've got a few people in chat who are saying games like F-Zero and Metroid. Retro was mentioned. So to answer your question, Jeff, all the signs are pointing towards Metroid being their big unannounced game that we're going to see at E3.
I know people love Metroid. Is it big enough though?
It's going to be all the third-party support that wasn't there.
Like, how big is Metroid? What are the? I don't know. Honest question. I don't know. But is that
Metroid? The Metroid Prime games were very popular.
Okay.
I mean, Metroid Prime is very popular. Now there are rumors that it's either a Metroid Prime game or a new 2D Metroid.
But the other question is, do the Metroid fans already have Switches by the end of this year?
I think so. I think all the Nintendo faithful who are going to get a Switch come fucking hell or high water by the end of this year will have one.
Yeah.
And then
they need something to sell units, and if those people already have one, I don't know. You see where I'm going?
Yeah, I see, and I'm not gonna deny that Nintendo. I'm not gonna say that Nintendo haven't boxed themselves into a corner, right? Because honestly, like I feel like this is a question that is better asked after E3, because I mean there have been all kinds of rumors swirling around, man. Like it's not just Metroid. People are talking about Pikmin and Animal Crossing. But you also make a really good point. Like these games, like the ones I've mentioned, Pikmin and Animal Crossing and Metroid, these are games that speak to Nintendo faithful. Are they games that speak to the mass market?
Well, that's the thing. Like Wii U,
I don't know. These
games all sold. Like the attach rate was crazy. Like I don't know what Mario Kart sold, like 8 million or 10 million out of 16 million Wii U's. But that's just because all the Nintendo fans bought the Nintendo system, and then they all bought every big Nintendo game, but they weren't able to bring in those extra players. And that's what I'm worried about with a new Metroid or something that, there's going to be 10 million Switch owners, and all 10 million will buy Metroid, but it's not going to move additional units the way they need it.
That's a valid concern.
Here, in terms of your question about whether or not it's a system seller, like, is it going to be big enough? I think what we forget is a lot of the times PlayStation and Xbox don't have that one system seller, but what they do have is numerous games that attract a specific type. And eventually you just get so many games that no matter who you are, you have something to look forward to. You might not have every game be a Zelda or a Mario, but you soon would have I needed to switch because now there's all these games that I'm kind of interested in, and they're all on one platform, rather than I needed for one game. What Nintendo has missed for a long time is had a nice range of titles that people can look at, like PlayStation and Xbox. And
but up until this year, would you say Sony's first-party output provided a compelling reason to buy a PS4 if you didn't have third-party support?
No, it did not.
Nope. Sony and Microsoft are different. Like that's what makes Nintendo so unique, is that to be fair, for 2 generations they have coasted purely on first party, and then Sony and Microsoft couldn't do that.
Yeah, but the Wii U coasted into the fucking grave.
But it's still coasting. Like, it's still sold purely.
Yeah, but they can't afford another Wii U.
They can't.
Exactly.
No, but they dropped the ball in first party. Like, they didn't release a Zelda that entire generation. I think they've learned from that.
I know the Wii U.
But, so
I guess my point is, though, this time, even just based off of that initial release conference, they have more third-party support, especially Japanese third-party support. Will they get the Western support? We'll find that out at E3.
Okay. So, Matt, Jesse, and I think Jeff just acknowledged it. Jesse in chat said something that is really important, and it needs to be repeated. He says, I really don't care about Metroid or Pikmin. Don't even know what Animal Crossing is. That's what keeps me away from Ninty. Their big titles are games that put me to sleep. That is not a view that is unique to just Jesse. That is, like, my brother, for example. Let's take him, huge gamer like us, right? He could give 2 shits about Nintendo because he's like, I don't give a shit about Pikmin. I don't care about games like Animal Crossing. I don't care about Pokemon. He wants to play multiplayer games like Call of Duty and Destiny and Battlefield and Titanfall and Battlefront, none of which, and Red Dead Redemption 2, none of which are going to be on the Switch. And that is going to be Nintendo's biggest problem. I think they're going to have a huge first year, but I will be very interested to see what happens with the Switch next year, because third-party support this generation has been everything. And we've said it on this podcast before, is that what is selling, Jeff hit the nail on the head. From a first-party perspective before this year, I mean, yes, Bloodborne and Uncharted 4 were amazing games, some of the best this gen. But were they a reason? I mean, has the Sony first-party stable given you a truly compelling reason to buy a PS4 until this moment? I would argue no. And like Jeff said, is a Mario every 3 years or a Zelda every 3 years going to be able to hit those people that want the big, bombastic AAA experiences that are multi-platform? I don't know. And the problem is that the Wii, not the Wii U, but the Wii sold it sold to soccer moms and grandmas because you could waggle your joystick around and you could play bowling. That's great, but that audience has moved on. They've moved on, and they are never coming back. So, I mean, they could have a real problem on their hands.
And when Matt talked about a diverse lineup, I think that's Nintendo and Microsoft are a little bit similar at the moment, where Nintendo's got Mario and Kirby and Yoshi and Zelda, but how many big new exciting IPs have they done outside of Splatoon recently? Like, it's been the same characters for 20 years, and Microsoft's kind of falling into that Forza, Gears, Halo, which are all really good, but those fans already have an Xbox.
Yeah.
They're not broadening and creating those diverse reasons for someone who says, hey, I don't like these kind of games, like Jesse, he doesn't care about Metroid or Animal Crossing, but hey, this cool thing, yeah, I'll buy one for that.
It's very similar, though. Like, Hohei's approach to the Switch and his feelings is very, like you said,
Hohei?
It isn't a very Xbox.
Hold on. Did you call him Hohei?
Oh,
That's
hey.
his name. Oh, hey.
I'm just gonna call Jesse. I'm sorry, buddy. Oh, wait. Keep going. I just want to point out that
His name is really fucking confusing. I never knew how to pronounce
It's
it.
Ho-
His
Okay.
name is a Lumineer song.
I want him to know we're calling him Ho-Hey from now on.
That's
But
fine.
Please
Good.
continue.
I'm
Please
glad
continue.
that I am the
Torpdeo.
one that started it. But no, just like he said, oh hey. But it's like Jeff pointed out, Nintendo is very similar to Xbox because a lot of people, their reasoning behind not wanting an Xbox is I don't care about Halo and Gears. And so that's their reasoning for not getting an Xbox. So you have these two consoles that if you don't like their particular style of first party, their desirability is diminished. At the very least with PlayStation, you know, if you don't care for their first party games, but you like Japanese games, you're set. You don't have to care about their worldwide studio stuff. If you like RPGs and stuff like that, there's only one place to go. And that's what Nintendo is looking at because, you know, remember they announced that Square Enix game that looks like 16-bit greatness.
Project Octopath Traveler, the fucking worst name for anything I've ever heard in my life.
Give me Tensei game. They've got Xenoblade Chronicles 2 coming out. They have more RPG support than they've ever had.
You just remind me that we'll close a Nintendo discussion on this because I want to. There's some questions in chat I want to answer, and then I've got a giveaway for next week I want to announce. But you gotta love how heavy-handed and like serious like Project Octopath Traveler. Like, how many fucking takes did it take to say that without laughing? What the fuck does that even mean?
It means Project Octopath Traveler.
The game itself looks rad, but I hope that's not the final name of the because oh my god,
It's absolutely not going to be the final.
I
It's,
really hope not.
it's probably just going to be called Octopath. Or
We
Which is
live in a
just as
world.
bad.
Octopath Traveler.
it's not very
Do you
good.
guys not remember what Japan's official title for the Fire Emblem Shin Megami crossover game was?
No, I don't. Please remind me.
The Tokyo Mirage
Oh yeah.
right,
Hashtag
right,
FE.
right.
100% release
Tokyo
again.
Mirage sessions.
Shit like
Hashtag
that. They
Yeah,
don't
Jeff-
care.
Jeff just made a great point in chat. He says, "Yo, Bob, did you see that new game, Project Octopath Traveler, at work on Monday?"
They'll probably drop the project part, but because remember, I Am Setsuna was Project Setsuna.
Yeah, it was.
That's
Sure.
what Square
If I
does.
walked up to my boys at work and said, "Yo, y'all check out that Project Octopath Traveler," they'd be like 10 seconds of silence and think, "Get the fuck out of here, John." But
I think I share Matt's optimism. I just hope they get the marketplace right so that these third-party groups can have a good forum to monetize their involvement with the Switch.
I will perpetually be optimistic. That's just always who I am. I want things to work out.
you're on Super Deformed Gamescast, man. Things will never work out.
E3 will be the true test because they promised a huge E3. If they do not show that they've got, and they can't just coast on Japan third party. Like, even though Japan's dominating 2017, we live in a pendulum cyclical world. Western devs will have next year or something, but if they don't show that they've locked in at least some Western support besides Skyrim, because that's really the only one that jumps to mind.
I'm not going to buy it. I've played Skyrim a billion times on multiple platforms. I'm not going to buy a Skyrim for the Switch.
And they need to have something unique. They can't just pull a Wii U or a Wii where they get shitty ports of good games. Where it's like, oh, it's the Wii version of Far Cry. No one gives a shit.
I want to move away from the Switch for a minute because we're I want to be able to answer some questions before we leave for the night. And we did have some. No, dude, you're fine.
Go.
No, dude, you're doing your thing, man. I'm not trying to shut you up. We did have some questions in chat. I do want to address those before I forget.
That's what they're there for. Hit them up.
Don't censor him, John.
I'm trying not to. I'm trying not to, but sometimes I feel like it has to be done. We had one question in chat from Macario Magarsenio. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He wants to know what we all think of Middle Earth Shadow of War.
It's going to be awesome.
What do we think about that, guys?
Super hype.
Are we pumped for that?
Pumped.
Yes.
Heck yeah.
And because they did a debut right. They were like, here's our teaser CG narrative trailer, but who cares? And then a couple days later, they're like, here's a 16-minute pure gameplay walkthrough of what it's like to take over one of these strongholds. And it was amazing.
They are releasing the game in the same year they've announced it. Thank
Yes.
God. And
That's
it's
what
launching in
really
August.
really good about
It is
that.
out of the fall. It's launching mid-August. That's perfect.
And they came out first, and they were like, Microsoft has the marketing rights, but it's also going to be one of the first big Scorpio pushes. It's going to have a Scorpio patch.
It's gonna
And it's play
yeah.
anywhere.
You're going to see a big focus on that at E3 for Microsoft. Because the
Oh,
first
you're
one
totally
had,
getting a stage demo. Totally.
oh yeah, because PlayStation had the marketing for the first one, and so it's a big deal that Microsoft locked this down because the first one was a huge surprise. And to have this be like a big Scorpio title, I think we're going to see a lot of it.
I'm
I
excited
agree.
about it. I really liked Shadow Mordor. I planned it. It was a great game. I didn't feel any really to return to the DLC. I never played the DLC, the Bright Lord DLC, just because I was like, okay, I've had enough Shadow Mordor. So I'm looking forward to it. It's the best Assassin's Creed game I've ever played. I like to call it. It's a really good Assassin's Creed game. Brandon, I know that you weren't really all that high on Shadow Mordor.
No, it's
Yeah.
okay. It's not a terrible game. It's not a bad game. It's just overrated as fuck.
Jeff, what about you, man? Did you ever play Shadow Mordor?
I did. I
Is this
played a good chunk of it. I got to like the second big map. I think I probably got like 70% through, and then I just got a little burnt out, which is crazy because like Lord of the Rings is, man, like I own 5 copies of the books and
Yep, I read them every year.
the versions of the movie. Like that's one of my favorite fictional franchises of all time.
You're a good man.
But it just it was a good game. I think it's like we talked so much about how far open world games have come, and especially within the last year, like the last few games like Horizon and Zelda and Watch Dogs 2 have been so good at giving you exciting and varied worlds to explore and dynamic. I think the Shadow of Mordor one just felt really cold and
agree.
boring and sterile.
I think there's huge potential in the sequel. All they have to do is just take the training wheels off. It's like the first game. The first game was made for babies. It was made for like fucking 10-year-olds that have never played an action game.
The first game, it's like the most 7 out of 10 game I've ever played.
It's the most forgiving
That's a
action
great quote.
game I have ever played in my entire life.
That is a great quote.
That was my
That was great.
like
That was great.
breakout hit of the year when it came out. It wasn't my game of the year or close to it, but it was definitely the most.
It was the most surprising game.
Yeah.
So I'll say this: without the Nemesis system, it would have been.
Yeah, no, but it.
But
and
it did have the Nemesis system, and they did actually
put a
pull
little
it.
difficulty in the game. I don't know. Put a little challenge in the game.
Brandon's right. It was too easy. It was way too easy. Like you could turn Talion into a fucking indestructible.
And then
god.
even if you do
Like,
die, it's like, oh, here, do this little mini game to not die.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it didn't make any sense, and like the Nemesis system was revolutionary, and honestly, it's something that I'm surprised we have not seen implemented in more games. Like
didn't have it. It's still weird to me.
Like the Nemesis system was what made that game because like I had this one orc. And the best part is his name was Douche. It was like D-S-H.
Yeah, we've heard the story about Douche before.
But it was fucking Douche, and Douche chased me the whole game, and nobody else had Douche chasing them. And he was like my antagonist through the whole game. And it just the experiences and the story, like nobody has a similar experience playing Shadow of Mordor, but without the Nemesis system, it's just another fucking open world. It's like Mad Max, which I found incredibly boring.
Mad Max was basically the same game, just without the Nemesis system.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. And without the Nemesis,
there's a lot of potential in Shadow of War.
But the car combat in Mad Max was so good.
I'm not ready. It was.
That was the only good thing I enjoyed about Mad Max, actually, Jeff.
It was okay for like the first couple hours, and then you just get overpowered. The same problem.
I think if they ever
I only played it for 5 hours.
Well, that's the thing. After 5 hours, you get the ability to just one-shot any vehicle in the game, and it's not even car combat anymore. Because either you just yank off their tires, or you shoot them with the rocket launcher and blow them up in one shot.
Yeah.
So,
too easy to get overpowered.
If there are any more questions in chat, there was another one, but I couldn't fucking find it. I want to announce a giveaway we're doing next week. So next Tuesday, we're going to be giving away a copy of Persona 5. A few people in chat had guessed that, I saw. But we will be giving away a copy of Persona 5. The official...
let me have that.
What's that?
Let me get that.
No, son. No. You can't even enter. You remember the podcast. It wouldn't be fair.
I quit.
You get the Persona 5.
You can quit the podcast temporarily and then come back the next week. And how about
Fair
that?
enough.
You can do that.
Consider it
Could I
done.
ask a question?
What's that?
how did we pull that off? Like, I think that's amazing. How do we get a copy to give away?
Oh, I'm buying a copy of it and I'm giving it away.
Oh, that makes you even more awesome. That's
so look at
fantastic.
that. We're giving away a copy of Persona
You're
5.
such a cool guy, John.
I am the fucking man. I really am.
You're way too good for this train wreck of a podcast.
I'm way too good for all you motherfuckers. I am above you all. But yeah, we are going to give away a copy of Persona 5. So what's going to happen is it's going to be tweeted out from the official SDGC Twitter, which is at SDGC_podcast. I highly recommend you follow our official because that's and so if you retweet it, you're entered for a chance to win Persona 5 on PS4. Obviously, I'm not going to give you guys the PS3 version. But yeah, so look out for that on Tuesday morning. That's going to go up, and at the end of the day, we will declare our winner, and you will receive your. It's going to be digital also, so you'll be able to download it and play it right away. You won't have to wait for it to come in the mail. I also want to give a shout out, two shouts out. One to Basement Raid Arcade Podcast, which is our sister podcast. And Sam, who is on the podcast right now, is a member, very good guy. He very graciously agreed to join us tonight. And you can catch them live every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Enrique and Sam and B-Money and Eric, they're all a bunch of good guys. I also want to give a quick shout out to takethis.org, which is an organization that does a lot of good work for gamers like myself with severe generalized anxiety and depression. They run the AFK room at PAX. If you've been to PAX and you see the AFK room, basically it's just a place where people with, for example, anxiety around crowds or any form of anxiety, you can go there. It's quiet. It's like a library. It's just lined with love sacks and beanbags. You can sit down, pull out your Nintendo Switch and play your Vita or read a book, listen to some music, and kind of decompress from the crowds. They also they do a lot of advocacy work for gamers with anxiety, coping mechanisms and stuff like that. So please, if you go to takethis.org and you donate to help keep them going.
Takethis.org.
Take this orgy, please. But that came out so wrong. I love it. But takethis.org is what I'll say from now on. If you go there and donate, that would be great.
Takethis.org is a whole different website.
Yeah, explain the beanbag though.
Yeah. The beanbag's getting away for takethis.org. But that's a new name for the podcast, by the way, is takethis.org.
New episode name.
Yeah, we should have changed it for episode 69. But yeah, that's fucking fantastic. But anyway, yeah, we got that coming. So please go help them out. Stay tuned for our Persona 5 giveaway next Tuesday. Does anybody on the podcast have anything else they want to add to our lovely viewers? No. Okay. I'll take your silences and no. Okay. Well, anyway, thanks everybody on YouTube for joining us today. We had a lot of fun. We had a good crowd today. We had a lot of fun in chat. It was awesome to see you guys. We will be back next Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as we always are. And of course, as always, it's not always poetry, and we don't always agree, but we always, Matt?
We keep it real,
God
motherfucker.
damn it,
Matt! Thank you, Brandon, for the save.
Every time.
What is it with
Jesus.
Matt?
Fucking Matt, you're just dropping the ball. Brandon picked up the slack.
There you
though.
go.
I'm sorry, you didn't say torpedo, so I didn't know.
That's a good point. That's a good
That's
point.
on
That
you.
is my
We've trained
fault.
him well.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Be good to each other.